of the highlights. I'll start though. Good. So this portion of the weekend is we're going to be giving our national council members an opportunity to share some of the things that they've been working on this biennium, and really since this last time when we had this event last year, and what's coming up next. And so each of us will have a little bit of opportunity. So while the program said I'm overseeing everything, this is a collaborative effort between the four of us. And so we're actually going to kick it off to Allison, who's going to tell you a little bit about what she's been doing in her role as our National VP for Communication and Recognition. So take it away, Allison.
Thanks, Erika. So this is the state of communication and recognition. So first I want to talk a bit about this past biennium, or the biennium that we're still in. Past biennium is 1921, that's too far back. So during this biennium, with regard to communication recognition, we've done a lot of work to expand resources, and one of the things I wanted to make sure was that each month the chapters had resources available to them of what type of work should they be focusing on, what events are coming up, what deadlines are coming up, what is the typical timeline for chapter operations. So we saw those posts go out each month, as well as in the monthly newsletters and things of that nature. So kind of giving the keys to the castle right away to each active member. There was also a lot of collaboration that took place between different branches of the national leadership team. So some examples include Giving Tuesday, where myself and the National Council partnered with the Capital Development Committee from the Board of Trustees to really make them a collaborative, I don't want to keep using the word collaborative, but I will probably, event where we had engaging social media posts that people could interact with. We had greater resources on the national website, and that yielded a very high turnout of donations on Giving Tuesday, especially as we're in the bounce back post-COVID. And also from the 13 days of Tau Beta Sigma that occurred this past March, and the March before that, and the Marches before them. But really being able to partner from Board of Trustees, the Alumni Association, we did a featured day of the AA, and then utilizing members from across our leadership team, as well as our committee, such as History and Archives, to really pull information that we were able to share and have it be not just one perspective on the organization, but many, many perspectives. Some other work that's been underway and really came to fruition this year is refining how we're able to apply for scholarships and awards. So hopefully you're familiar with tbsigma.org/scholarships or /awards. If not, bookmark those. There's always opportunities for students and chapters to be able to be recognized, whether that's in a monetary way, going along with a scholarship, which we'll be announcing the 2023 recipients over the next couple of weeks, or if it's in the form of one of our awards awarded during district convention season, or those that are coming up at national convention. So the process to apply was made to be more streamlined. So wanting to, for scholarships, be really focused on what is this specific scholarship asking for? What do we need to know to make a decision about who's deserving of this scholarship? For awards such as the Academic Achievement Award, it was previously a somewhat cumbersome Word document that had to get translated to PDF. So now everything's a web form because that's how all the applications should be. So just a couple examples. And then the last thing is that we've also kind of branched further out in terms of how we as an organization can be recognized. So we're a part of the Professional Fraternity Association. And this past year in 2022, we were recognized by receiving 2 awards from the association. First was Career Achievement. The Career Achievement Award was given to Mr. Melvin Miles, who is a very long time director of bands, and he's also a past national president of Kappa Kappa Psi, long-term supporter of Tau Beta Sigma as well. So he received that award, and we also received the Outstanding Community Service Award from the Alpha Omega chapter for their For Greater Music benefit concert. So being able just to show the great work that happens and how we are making that For Greater Bands motto really happen in real life. So what's coming next? So this is going to tie, I guess, forward into things that Erika will talk about with our vision statement and strategic planning. But things that I envision for the future of communication recognition includes continuing our partnerships with other organizations, whether it's in the music world or the nonprofit world in general. So being able to partner, share events, share resources, which already happens, but making that be more of a forefront. Also continuing our efforts to be recognized for our programs and operations. whether it's through PFA. We actually have a few nominations out for consideration for this year as well. So fingers crossed that we have that, and that hopefully we'll hear soon. But as well as looking at our other partner organizations. Something else I see for the future is being able to really celebrate our own Tau Beta Sigma members for our accomplishments, whether it's within the women in music community, whether it is for our own professional achievements, being able to not only recognize out, but kind of highlighting in as well for our own excellence and participation. So that's been this biennium, and hopefully what's to come. Then we look at the summer checklist. So I'm a checklist person, if you haven't figured that out in the past 2 years. So for all chapters, I would say, I mean, we're recording this, so you can go check it out on the YouTube later, but if you wanted to right now, like take a quick screenshot or a picture, these are the key things I think that we should do with regard to communication recognition. So each chapter should be connected with their district secretary treasurer, especially about events taking place over the summer and the early fall. Get it on the calendar and find out how you can participate. You should also have discussions about event planning in general for the summer and fall, but there may be larger events that you want to look even further out toward, as well as fundraising goals to meet those different projects and events. If you don't follow the sorority in all of our platforms, there will be a slide in like 2 seconds, maybe not, that has that information. And then the last thing is to keep a close eye on all of the updates and opportunities for engagement that are going to take place between right now and like 5 weeks from now when we kick off National Convention in July. So those are my keys to the summer. I do have some contact information for you to reach out to the district secretary treasurer. So that is our crew who's been working really hard and getting to know one another as well over the past few weeks. And with that, there is a slide somewhere that has the social media contact information, but it is not in my set right now. So that will come up if you have questions on how to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email. You can always reach out to one of the members of the National Council. And I'm going to pass it over now to Leslie.
Hello, friends, and hello, interweb space. I'm Leslie Gartin. I'm your National Vice President for Special Projects. If you do not know, please go on this last hike with me as we highlight some of this year, celebrate our accomplishments, and look forward to the future. First off, just talking about this year, I just want to give a personal shout out and thank you to our 2023 District Convention women in music speakers. They were all fantastic. I think we had a really good representation of our active student membership. And I think they had some really inspirational words that were fantastic. So thank you to Dr. Lee Munoz from who is the Midwest District Speaker, Dr. Ann Hicks, who is the North Central Speaker, Jasenia Jackson, the Northeast District Speaker, Maria Castillo, the Southeast District Convention Speaker, Claudia Hayden, who was our Southwest District Convention Speaker, and Dr. Linda Margetts, who was our Western District Convention Speaker. Thank you to them, and thank you to you for your continued support of our speaker series, and we can't wait to continue this wonderful program. So what else should you be looking forward to at NatCon? Speaking of women in music speakers and performers, here are a couple fantastic performers we have. Let me talk a little bit about their bios for you. So American Ensemble Calliope Brass collaborates with the world's most prominent creatives to build evocative, story-driven concert experiences for a variety of audiences. Inspired by the eponymous storytelling muse in Greek mythology, Calliope Brass is most known for its innovative approach, successfully expanding upon the more traditional norm of recital-style performances. As a registered nonprofit, Calliope has obtained several grants for performance and educational initiatives since its inception in 2015. They further the role of women brass musicians as both artists and teachers through excellence in artistry and innovation in performance. Based in New York City, their members are among the city's most active musicians, found playing on Broadway, major symphony orchestras, television, and main stage acts, including Adele, Pink Martini, I thought it was just Pink, I don't know, and then Andrea Bocelli. So they're pretty fantastic. They will be performing for us and also doing a panel just talking about their journeys as collective women in music. It'll be a fantastic time. If you do not follow them on TikTok yet, please do. They have some really fun videos that are educational, but also them just as people, as young women musicians kind of going through their post grad school life, which is pretty neat. Our next women in music speaker, her name is Heather Thorne. She is our local women in music speaker. She's a xylophonist in Orlando, Florida, where she performs with her band Vivacity and as a freelance percussionist and actress. She holds a degree in music performance with a minor in theater from Ithaca College, where she was a proud member of Gordon Stout's marimba band for 2 years. In 2019, she was featured with Vivacity as the headline act for the I Love Jazz International Jazz Festival in Brazil. Heather has been featured as guest artist with Michael Andrew and Swingerhead, Carol Stein, and the John DePaola Quartet as an opening act for the Glenn Miller Orchestra. Heather has a passionate interest in the history of xylophone and is working with Bill Kahn on a project to digitize and preserve nearly 1,500 recordings of xylophone and percussion music from 1898 to 1929. So these two wonderful groups and people will be there. We are working hard, and I think we have completed the contracts, but they are wonderful aspects and just two of the many reasons to go to National Convention this year. I'm sure you'll hear about that more as we go through the slides. In addition, we'll also be holding a special panel to commemorate the 25th anniversary of our Women in Music Speaker Series. Panelists include Gretchen Buchan, Karen Miller-Hammond, Jonathan Markowski, and then also one of our current district BPSPs, Logan Green from the Midwest District, which will be cool. Next slide, please. So talking about the Focus on 5 campaign for this school year has just finished up as of Thursday this week. And here are the official numbers. And thank you so much for your continued support of this, and great job, team. Next slide. I would love to, no, I'm going to save my voice and not give those. I will do that at National Convention. But huge props to the following 50 chapters for completing the campaign this year. Thank you. Next slide. Once people are done reading, feel like we're giving a nice second. Very good. And these wonderful names on the screen are your district vice presidents for special projects, students that are and will continue to work with you and your chapters on your programs and your initiatives. Please contact them. We do have 2 spots we are currently working to fill at the moment, but if that is your respective district, you can still email that and it will go towards the district counselors and a designee who's also a student from the district council. So cool. And then you can always reach me. I will put my email below as well for anything you need. But without further ado, I would love to pass this over to Siobhan.
All right, everyone. Last day of Jamboree, let's go. So let's go ahead and jump in to talk about some things that have happened in membership and expansion land. So wanted to start off with talking about a few membership milestones. And these are just a few. We've experienced so much over the past 2 years, but to highlight, we brought in 4 new chapters, in which 2 of them were brand new to TBS. So welcome in to those new sisters, and already seeing those chapters really taking on the fortitude and courage to see an ideal and, kicking butt already. We've brought in over 1,000 new members this year. So again, congrats and welcome to our new members, and especially thanks to all the chapters and vice president memberships or membership educators for helping to bring in these new members. We've had 100% or probably 99.9% of our MEPs turned in for review. So really great job on that. Continue to do that and work on what it looks like to have your membership education plan submitted on time as we go into next year. We did do a couple of chapter reboots this year. And the reboots were mostly ones where, post-pandemic, the chapter numbers maybe got really low. So we were able to jump into a few chapters and help them to have the extra support to be able to restart their chapter and to pick up the pace and get on a better cadence of new members and chapter operations, etc. One to note, and I'm really excited about, we had a chapter that was just about 100% reboot. I think they had one member that may have been returning that year, and we were able to help them to bring in a class of, I think, 14 new members, to include continuing to give them support on like how to TBS after they were brought in. So if your chapter's getting a little low in numbers, we have the capacity and the ability to help you to do what you need to do to bring in new members and for you to feel secure in that too. So call me, beat me if you want to reach me. And then also, to start off the biennium, and every year we've had dozens of changes to Overture. Many of the changes were ones to help with efficiency for our VPMs. So you're not having to search for 1,000 resources, but also making it so that your membership candidates are able to, use the time that you're having for your weekly education sessions in a different way, to include less activities, but more time for the other parts of your membership plan that you have. And those updates also included a lot of collaboration that we had with other committees. So connecting with our DEIA, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Accessibility Committee for updates to Overture, History and Archives, Musicianship and Music Education. I said that backwards, committees as well. So there's a lot of nuggets in there from Overture for the past updates that were changed, and also some more to expect going into the future. And so some things to come and for you to be on the lookout in the horizon. Some of the things that we actually started this biennium that will be probably taking up better speed as we go into the next. So of course, over the summer, you'll have access to Overture 2023 edition. That should be available. The goal is before National Convention. We've also been working diligently in the curriculum committee on the Rondo, which is a guidance for continuing education. We've got a lot of goals in each of the districts to improve continuing education, and not just of like relearning the information, but what it looks like to expand your understanding of TBS, but then other parts of service, leadership, musicianship that we all get to experience as members of TBS. Something also to look forward to is cadence for leadership development. Yes, you learn to lead in doing the work, but our goal is to also skill you up with some additional competencies so that you're able to take and transfer the skills that you are learning in TBS, connect to some of the top, I'm going to say competencies again, or top skills that leaders have, and use that into whatever path you're on. So be on the lookout for more leadership development that's coming to you, either sprinkled in Overture or with Cadence as a individual kind of guide as it is. Also going into next year, you can expect to see some additional recruitment tools and resources to help you to really shake up how you recruit and even how you retain your members of your chapter. And we've already have a few chapters lined up or ready to start for fall 2023. So we're going to be continuing to grow as an organization. I'll be glad to have more information about that in the months to come. And of course, more to come would be just a greater connection to our values. You'll see some of those things as updates in Overture and other things coming out of the curriculum committee and from the land of membership and expansion as a whole. And then, as always, we've got a checklist too, because some of these VPMs are already rip-roaring and ready to go. So if you weren't able to join the Candidate Campground workshop yesterday, be on the lookout for that video on our YouTube in the next few weeks, which we talk a little bit about some things to get ready for as you're a new membership educator. But for my folks who maybe not have attended or just want to have another checklist and things to get ready to do, connect with your district VPM. They've got a lot of exposure and experience to membership things that they can help you with. Begin updating your membership education plan and connect with your district VPM so that you you can actually get the copy of your approved MEP from last year, so you don't have to start from scratch. And once your MEP has been submitted and approved by your district counselors, you are good to go. You can start planning for recruitment and get ready for Overture updates that are coming this summer too. And as always, if you have any questions or need anything in regards to membership, you can also connect with our curriculum committee. And that email is shown on the screen at overture@tbsigma.org. And also join our Facebook group that we have for membership educators. I'll drop the link in the chat here in a second, but that's another place where you can see some updates and learn about new things and get access to a bunch of different things, then and join the conversation that we have as well in the membership land. And if you don't know who your VPM is for your district, here is the list. And we saw a couple of them presenting the workshop yesterday, but we've got Michaela in the Midwest, Eric in the North Central, Tyler in the Northeast, Keys in the West, Faith in the Southwest, and Marin in the Southeast. They are going to be your membership champions as you go into next year. So become their friends. They're great resources. If they don't know, they'll connect you to who does. And thank you very much. Again, I'll put my email into the chat if y'all have any questions or have any other membership needs. I'm glad to assist. Now, passing the baton over to Erika to bring us on home.
Thank you so much. And also, can we all just take a look at Siobhan's shirt and the fact that it complements and matches our presentation today. So give it up for yet again on fleek, if that's even a term that we still use. So this last piece is specifically just talking about kind of where we're at right now, some of the things that we've done this biennium, and then the things that we're getting ready for. You know, a lot are far off, but the two main things are here and, you know, within the next couple of months. So yeah, proceed to the next one. So just some biennium highlights I wanted to talk to you about. The return of in-person district conventions this year has been great, being able to get everyone back into a room in all of our 6 districts. And some of the many challenges, of course, you know, COVID was still very much with us when the biennium started. And so navigating that as we were trying to make decisions on what the district convention season would look like, having just had a very, very successful national convention. And so a lot of it was working with our healthcare partners, both within the organization and other members who we've partnered with outside to ensure that we created healthy atmospheres for all 6 of our district conventions. And year 1 was a success, and year 2 was a success to boot as well. We reignited having on-campus chapter visits. Of course, we didn't get to do as many chapter visits on in person as we wanted to, but the chapter visitation assistant program has continued. Over half of our chapters were able to have a chapter visit, both in either a virtual format or in person. And so shout out to all of our CVAs who have done a phenomenal job getting in with chapters, checking in on them, conducting the visits, and then even checking in on them after the fact. And so we're at a really, really great place there. And you can expect that the chapter visitation system will continue moving into the next biennium. And it's a very fluid program. And so we keep it that way because as the organization is continuing to evolve, we were making sure that we are providing the resources that students need and that chapters need to be successful. And the CVA program is a big part of that. The call and formation of TB Sigma steering committees, we even created 2 brand new ones. And so in previous bienniums, we might have 1 or 2 committees. And this year we ended up actually forming 8 different committees that were functioning this year, including our DEIA committee continued its work into this biennium. And the 2 new ones who have been fantastic. We have a new communications committee that is grassrootsing, but still getting its legs, but it's doing a great job under the leadership of our national VPCR. And then our music education and musicianship committee has been phenomenal because we are a music organization. And so this is one committee that I was very passionate about bringing into this biennium, just because We wanted to be able to help chapters craft what their musical culture is within their chapter. You know, we focus in on the work that we do for our bands, but how are we as musicians? And so this group has done a great job in that, including a campaign that I'm really excited about under Leslie's advisement, the United in Harmony. And that was basically a campaign to reinvigorate interest and reinvigorate the performance of our songs, and creating some tools to help you teach those songs to new members, or to get a recap or a re-education on how the song should be performed. And so that is some of the great work that has been going on. Our assessment committee has been in the background collecting data to help the organization make some decisions. And something I'm going to talk about here in a moment, the assessment committee and specifically members of the assessment committee have been fantastic in helping us work on what will be our new online membership system. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. We were able to pass on the leadership torch to several new district counselors and CBAs. And we do have some announcements coming out for some CBAs, new appointments and counselorships that will be happening here in the next couple of weeks. And so be on the lookout for that. And then the big thing that we've been doing this biennium is working on our strategic plan for 2032. And I know that's a year that nobody really wants to think about, but you're like, yeah, that's a fictional year. That year doesn't exist, right? But any organization, one thing that that keeps the organization moving forward is making sure that you are looking at what you're currently doing. I know, right? And continuing to think about what you want the future of the organization to look like. So usually a good standard practice is you do it every 10 years. So the last time that our organization did a rigorous strategic planning was back in the 2010, 2011 era. And so we were a little overdue. And so that was something that we decided that we were going to work on this biennium. And so if you want to go to the next slide, so that we can kind of talk about what that strategy of that timeline looks like. And so our work really truly started January of 2022 during our winter council meetings. And unfortunately, when we thought we were going to be able to do our national leadership winter council meeting in person, is when, if you remember, in January of that year, we had a humongous spike in COVID cases. And so, you know, we just didn't want to put our people out there in that situation. We wanted everyone to feel safe. So we took our winter council to the virtual setting once more for one more time. And during that, we took some time to step out of our individualized governing meetings. So that's the National Council, the Board of Trustees, and the Tau Beta Sigma Alumni Association Executive Council. And we stepped out of our 3 meetings and came in and discussed what we wanted out of the next step of the organization. So the next 10 years. And what we wanted to accomplish, what we wanted the organization to stand for, what are the things we wanted to focus on. And as you can imagine, because of the focuses are very different from all 3, it was helpful to be able to have a representative from each group, all kind of dividing and conquering and working together. So I had a chance to sit in a room with members of the AA and members of the Board of Trustees to kind of decide and discuss what they were thinking and what their viewpoints were. A big part of that is we needed to create a new vision statement. And whereas the mission statement doesn't change, vision statements should be revamped every 10 to 12, maybe even 15 years for an organization. And so that was the next step. And so from that time period of January all the way to around July, August, we continued to work through what the vision statement should be. Based on those conversations. And as we were going into those original meetings in January, the 3 statements that you see there, the we strive for, we are committed to, and we believe that, were the focus, were asked to be the focus of the conversations, and through those lenses to help us then think about what the new vision statement should exemplify. And then from there, and from January to summer, that summer we were able to finalize and adopt a new vision statement. And so this is actually the new vision statement. And what we did then this past January is we were able to come back together as a group in person in Orlando, and sit together as groups. And then we broke up again, and did kind of a rotation aspect of things to be able to hear from various voices in the room and people at the table, to take what we'd created with the vision statement and then create some action items and some priorities for each of the organization's governing pieces. So I'll read it out to you real quick. I know you can read, but it's always nice to just have it written. Tau Beta Sigma is a highly respected music organization that creates an equitable and inclusive environment where all band members grow through leadership, musicianship, and service. Through shared values across an engaged membership base, we are empowered to flourish beyond our collegiate careers in all areas: musical, professional, and philanthropic. We are committed to fostering connections and creating a meaningful experience for our members, band directors, college communities, and the band world. And I share that with you because, one, it is the springboard that we're using to plan for the future, but also to encourage your chapters. You can come up with something similar for just what your chapter wants to accomplish over a set amount of time. And so I encourage chapters to think about strategic planning within your goal setting, those SMART goals that we talk about in many a workshop that we've done. And so some of the things that we have already put into place concerning some of the goals that have already happened is, we've established creating more partnerships with other music organizations, setting intentional fundraising goals, ensuring that our DEIA efforts connect with the values that we have in place. Allison talked a little bit more about creating recognition opportunities already for alumni members who are making societal impacts, and some of the partnerships that we've made. So, like, for example, with PFA, and then just putting more emphasis on musicianship at the chapter level, including what I just discussed, that what we call MEMC, the Music Education and Musicianship Committee, has been helping us with. And so identifying some things that we're already doing to fit into the goals of this vision statement, but also some things that we want to do. So from the national leadership, we're still looking to create those professional, the professional aspect of things. How do we make Tau Beta Sigma a household name? Strengthening our membership base, so ensuring that you have the tools to recruit, because if you're not here, then we're not here. It's important that we have members to help push the work forward. Making sure that all of our programming has inherent value for you and participation. So we're not just creating things just to do things. There's a need, and putting those things into place. And then also just the structure of our national leadership, and ensuring and continuing to foster that. So, what do we expect out of the National Council? What do we expect out of the counselors and the CBAs, all the way down Board of Trustees, ECAA? The Board of Trustees, of course, are looking at ways to continue to stabilize, because they think about the future of the organization financially, and so ways that they can do that. And the TBSAA, of course, their role is alumni experience and recognition, and various resources that they can provide, because I would like to think that as active members now, Tau Beta Sigma is going to be part of your future in some way, even if it's you're donating, or even if it's you're donating your time, in ways, when you're an adult, you're all adults now, but as you move forward as alumni. And so we are continuing to work through those things, and there will be pieces that really are going to be best handled by the active student and other members. And so there will be lots of that word collaboration, in this, as we continue moving through these next 10 years to 2032, when we no longer have cars on the road, they're flying cars in the air. And then just some things that are upcoming. And so what I was talking about in the things that are coming up sooner rather than later. And so that is right now, I know many of you have heard about Opus, which is our new online system. And it is something that is still under works and is happening. And one of the ways that you can help us prepare for that is just making sure that any paperwork that is in in the OMRS currently that you still have pending, if you can please help us complete that. Because the thing that we worry about is that if there's a report that's pending, should we go live with the new system, that you will have to redo that piece of paperwork in the new system. And so if you can try to avoid that, that would be amazing. And so if in these first 2 weeks of June, if you could please take care of that, if you haven't already, that would be fantastic. And if you need any help from us, please reach out and let us know, and we can get you connected to the right people at national headquarters who can help you finish whatever paperwork might be pending. But I can tell you and promise you that the new system is going to be so much more user-friendly for those of you who have had to work with some of our cantankerous OMRS pieces of paperwork. And so it is going to be a better system. I've played around with it myself, and it's going to be great. And we appreciate all of your patience as we've tried to get it right. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us. And then the big thing is our national convention that is going to be coming up in July 11th through the 14th. And we hope to see all of you there. This is the website. And I actually wanted to just 2 things and then see if we can pull the website up. I've already got it up. I just need to be able to share my screen so that I can kind of navigate through some of the parts and things that are useful to you as students. But the one thing is just keep in mind that June 12th is the registration deadline. Right now, registration is $185. It will go up to $200 after that. So please, if you're interested in going, I will gladly take your extra money. But if you don't want to pay that larger price, then June 12th, put it in your brain and make it happen. The hotel block also closes, and we're getting a special rate that you wouldn't get unless you're a part of our convention. So if you are staying at the convention hotel, and we hope all of you are, just remember that it closes that day as well. And Allison, I think in order for me to share, I think you might have to stop sharing. I think is how that works. Yeah. Okay. So let me pull up our national convention website here. Put everything else down. See if I can share screen, and I just wanted to navigate through some stuff so that you can see all the things that are available to you. There we go. Hopefully everybody see that. Yeah, cool. All right, so just some I wanted to kind of navigate some places that are important to you, or should be, or hopefully will be important to you. So for Tau Beta Sigma, there are some special forms that we have here. And so if you're attending, or even if you already know that you're not attending, please make sure you fill out the chapter delegate and proxy form. This allows us to ensure that we're able to take votes on the things that we need to vote on. And just if you are going, it gives you the opportunity, if you are sending a delegate, to be able to show us, let us know what committees you're interested in serving on potentially. And being able to then take that information and make some assignments. We give the opportunity for people to give constitutional changes and committee topic proposals. And so if there's something that you're thinking about or you thought about, we have some constitutional changes that we know need to be made, but our Constitution is a very vast document. And so if there's something in there that we don't already have on our list, we want to hear from you, but also any committee topics that you feel like may be good to discuss within the committee work at National Convention. And then finally, we have, we're bringing it back. It went really well in 2021. Is the Tau Beta Sigma Student Ensemble Showcase. And so if you have an ensemble of people who would be interested in maybe playing at various times during some of our separate sessions, so maybe at the beginning of a separate session to kick us off, or if we've got some dead time in the middle, just having some quick music, some pieces, then we encourage you, and if you don't mind traveling to National Convention with your instrument, then come on. We would love to hear, because we really want this to be a musical experience for the national organization. And so please consider that, because we would love to have some students showing off what it is that we do in these organizations. A big part of our national convention also are our elections. And so please go through and check in and look into all of our national Tau Beta Sigma national elections. So this gives you all the information about each of our candidates for national convention, board of trustees, and TBS AAEC. If you're a student, the one you're probably going to be the most interested in is the national council position, because students, you get to choose who these individuals are. Whereas life members are the ones who vote for our board of trustees, and then members of the AA for Tau Beta Sigma vote for the EC members. But please check out everybody. They're all very interesting characters and people that, you know, from a networking standpoint, you may want to keep in contact with if you see something, you know, in their packet that gives you information about who they are and maybe where y'all might have some opportunities to connect on some other things. Registration is right here. And this is where you would go to do all of that. And I think I should be able to go back, but we'll see. I'll go back to there we go, cool. This is also where you can go to register for the hotel. So this is your hotel, and you want to come here to register for the hotel to get the special rate and not go directly to the Caribe Royale, because you will have the normal rates there. So make sure that you come to this website and go through and click here for reservations in order to do that. And just keep in mind, again, that the group rate is good and available until June 12th. There are various types of rooms. So as a chapter, we ask you to go and talk through what that could look like. Everything that's going to be associated with the national convention are all going to be in this one location. And the beauty of this particular location is that everything is in, for those of you who might have gone to 2021, everything is in a block area, which means that you won't have to go far. The furthest you'll have to go is from your hotel room to the convention center. So we're really excited about that. And then, yeah, because it's Orlando, go look at the various things you can do. So Visit Orlando will give you some various things that you can do there. Disney World, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld. Disney Springs is also a really fun place to go. Anything you can imagine buying or eating, you will find in Disney Springs. And so we encourage you, if you can, you know, if you want to come in a day early, or if you want to stay a day late, or there will be some opportunities in some evenings where you may have the opportunity to actually go break away from our convention hotel and go do some other things in the evening. So look into those things. And then I wanted to just tell you a little bit about some of the workshops that we're going to be offering during our national convention. And we're really excited about that. So some of the workshop offerings that we're going to be having is a retention equation, because as Siobhan spoke to and alluded to, you know, there are going to be some resources for how to retain your active members, as, you know, recruiting them is the first step, and then keeping them there and wanting to motivate them to continue to devote time and energies to Tau Beta Sigma. Creating and discussing chapter identities and joint presence. So for those of you who have a brother chapter or other organizations that look a little bit like ours, how are you able to navigate that in a respectful way? Facilitating tough conversations, because sometimes that is just unnecessary. Leading without a title, because you don't have to have a title to be a leader in our organizations. And specifically like event documentation and creation. So how do you keep your chapter from having to reinvent the wheel every year when it comes to like the various events that you do each year? And then, because she's here today, we actually will have a leadership marketplace that we're putting together, and kind of like a road trip theme kind of a thing. And so some of the topics, our idea is that you'll walk away, each of our chapter members will walk away with digestible and also with tangible things that they can take back to their chapter. So during that, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, including that'll be the opportunity to get to know our chapter leadership finalist, and see what all the districts have been doing over these past 2 years. But also you'll get to visit booths that pertain to time management, stress management, conflict resolution, application of Tau Beta Sigma work outside of collegiate activity. So how do you take the things and the values that you learn here and take them outside of the sorority and the chapter setting? creating music and community within your community, engagement of members and motivation, and then just overall how to coach and empower each other. And so we're excited about some of those things. Leslie talked to you a little bit about our Women in Music's opportunities that we have set up. Along with that, we'll have a phenomenal ritual of excellence. So you get an opportunity to see our national officers perform the ritual for you, second and third degrees. And so, yeah, those are the high level things that we have coming up. And the last announcement that I have is something that if you're interested, or if you know somebody who's interested, as y'all, if you've been following along, we have a new publications manager at national headquarters. And so one of the things that we've been doing is helping him create a digital library, because he is very interested in being able to continue to tell Tau Beta Sigma stories through the pictures that we, in action, like us in action, whether it's band, whether it's service. And so we're trying to build a library, and many of these pictures will be used in various publications. Most recently and most closely, it'll be used in our biennial report to show all the great work that chapters are doing. And so if this is something that you want to contribute to, there's actually a link that I will put over here in the chat in a moment. And it basically goes to a folder that if you have pictures and you have rights to pictures, because that's the big thing. If you have the rights to pictures of your chapter doing work things or serving bands or game day pictures, like pictures of what you would be doing, playing your instrument and things like that. And so we wanted to have a really, really good, fast digital library that can be used on our website, can be used in the podium, can be used in pamphlets and such. And so this is something that we've been talking about for years. And so now we're pulling the trigger to make it happen. So if you are interested, or if your chapter has that kind of library already, then we'd love to see your pictures. The main things we ask, if there's a release form that's necessary, we're happy to provide one so that we have access to and the rights to use those pictures in our publications. Or if you yourself know that you own the pictures, just giving us the permission to use them, and we'll give you the photo credit as well, because we want to make sure we credit all photographers or those who donate pictures. And with that, that is all I have from the state of a sorority right now. So I will pass it back to maybe Leslie, or if there are questions for any of us over here.